Hey yo, football fans, it's another great year. Fantasy football fiends, grab your beer. Giving you the best draft tips for all your picks. Starts and sits to the waiver wire fix. From my drafts galore to stats that's hardcore. Triple F does it all, have y'all screaming more. So sit back, relax, let the experts prevail. JT Magnum, Ziggy Guns never fail.
What is up, fantasy football fiends? My name is Ziggy Guns, along with
JT Magnum.
And today we're going to be doing our Week 4 fantasy stud, duds, and papa sons, and also talk about waiver wire pickups. So JT, what are we starting off today?
Just to let you guys know too, on the bottom, the clicker. I keep talking about it. I said it the first time, just so you understand it. It's not the top. It's not really the top players that we're putting in there. We're putting in there more of the mid-range people that we feel that it's a must start for this week, because it's an obvious to start Peyton Manning. It's an obvious to start Adrian Peterson and like certain quarterbacks and stuff like that. But if you're not starting certain players, or you have, you know, I mean, you're going to get some obvious ones in there as well, but they're not going to be like the main superstars. So that's what we're doing for our ticker at the bottom, and hopefully, and we're adjusting them every week based on matchups that we feel, you know, we rank them as. So that's how we're doing it from now on. So, and for the
we're
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was saying is we're doing this more so you can go ahead and maybe have that tough choice, because everybody knows you're going to pick Des Bryant and Calvin Johnson to start at wide receiver, but maybe you have Pierre Garçon in your bench, and we might put him in this week, saying, you know, so in case you have somebody like, say, you know, Victor Cruz, you know, Pierre Garçon might be a better matchup, etc. So that's the reason why we're doing that.
Exactly. So for the waiver wires, the first we're going to start off with quarterbacks, and Mike Glennon is officially getting the start over Josh Freeman. So I'm going to say sleep, because he's still a rookie. He doesn't know what's going on yet, and I know Arizona's given up a lot of yards passing, but I still say they're still a tough defense, and I think he's going to struggle this week.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He is going to struggle for sure. He doesn't know the playbook. He hasn't been running with the first-team offense. This was not something that was a QB battle like in the preseason, to where, you know, someone like let's say Chad Henne, you know, with Gabbert, you know, they were each taking first, you know, team snaps. He wasn't taking first-team snaps at all, and so he's going to be completely new to everything. He's going to have a hard time. He's going to struggle. It is a good matchup on paper. I was saying that earlier, but now that I was thinking about that, yeah, Glennon, no way you take him. I honestly, personally don't think Tampa Bay made the right smart decision doing this. I don't care how bad Freeman's been playing. He proved that he can play, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with Tampa Bay. What else we got?
We also have Brian Hoyer, and now this is a good matchup if you're in a deep league. And you need a quarterback, like let's say you have Aaron Rodgers on a bye this week and you don't really have a good, decent backup, and maybe your backup has a tough matchup, then maybe, yeah, pick up a Brian Hoyer, because he might do well against Cincinnati, even though they have a pretty tough pass defense, but at least he'll get you some points because he's got some weapons on offense. So I'm going to say if you're in a deep league, pick him up. If you don't need a quarterback, then, yeah, you have no reason to pick him up whatsoever.
Obviously, this probably goes in more to people that have Josh Freeman. If you have Freeman and you have to have another quarterback, then, you know, as your deep league or backup, then Hoyer definitely would be the better option out of the two, in my opinion. So that would be something to think about, because at least with Hoyer, like JT said, he's going to get you more yards and possibly more points, considering the weapons that he has on that team. You know, with Cameron and Josh Gordon.
Yeah. For the running backs now, we have Bilal Powell. This is Siggy's boy. He said to draft him earlier in the year, and then he did a fantasy draft with me and didn't draft him. So, but I picked him up off the waiver wire, and he had a lot of points last week. And I didn't actually start him, but he had a lot of points, and he's a good pickup. I'm gonna say pick him up, because why? He starts. It's hard to find a starting running back, and especially one that's going to, you know, the Jets run a lot. They're going to run a lot with a rookie quarterback, so I would say pick him up as fast as you can if you haven't already.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, just to give you more incentive, aside from the fact being the starter, his backup, Chris Ivory, who everybody assumed would be taking over the role eventually, did get hurt. So now it looks like Powell's going to be all to himself, have that field. He's going to be sharing some carries every now and then with, I forgot his name already. That's how bad he is. But Powell should be good to go as the main guy. And, yeah, I mean, that's the obvious pick in my opinion.
Yeah, and the other one is Fred Jackson from the Buffalo Bills. C.J. Spiller has been nothing but injury prone, and he's been kind of a disappointment this year fantasy-wise. And he was one of my picks to do really well, but he just can't seem to shake injuries. And Fred Jackson came in and stepped right in and did well last week. Good catches, good runs. And I would say if you have a chance, pick him up because you never know what Spiller's going to do, if he's going to get injured again and what's going to happen. And Fred Jackson's a definite good flex play because he catches the ball a lot. And if you can strike gold with him if you know he's going to end up starting if Spiller goes down.
Exactly. And certainly for this week, it's going to be a must pick up, obviously, because C.J. Spiller did hurt his knee. He left the game against the Jets. He's saying it's not that bad, but then you're reading around the internet and you're finding out that it could be more serious, that he could miss a couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Everybody's hush-hush about it right now. So obviously Fred Jackson handcuffed for sure. If you have C.J. Spiller, try to get him. Or if you want to take that chance of, being sneaky and get somebody that might be hurt, right away with somebody that's going to fill in, Fred Jackson is the person you should pick up for sure.
All right. And now for the wide receivers. Now, this guy was my pickup of my fantasy football draft, actually. He was one of my sleeper guys, and I had him on my bench waiting because I knew he was suspended the first 2 weeks, and that's Josh Gordon. And a lot of people didn't realize, they didn't see him obviously in the preseason catching all those deep balls like I did, but I was like, this guy is something special. He's he just gets open, and they targeted him a lot last week, and he got a lot of yards, and a lot of catches for his first game back. And pick him up. This guy is a stud, and he's even right now rumored to be traded, or they want to trade him. And I'd still say pick him up because they're using him. They are putting him on display, and this guy is just getting open.
Oh, yeah. 19 targets last week. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, especially if you're in a points per session league. So, even if you feel that Cleveland's not going to be scoring with Hoyer, at least know that he is definitely going to be getting a lot of yards because of all the opportunities that he's going to be catching with the targets that he has. So, obvious pickup for sure. No doubt.
Second guy is Santonio Holmes. Had a great game last week. I know it was against the Buffalo Bills, but and Bills' corners were all hurt and everything, and Santonio was making them look like idiots out there. But I'm gonna say if you need a wide receiver badly, then yes, try to pick him up. If you're not in any need of wide receiver, you're trying to just fill in a position just to try to hold on to him, then yeah, he's not worth your time because, I mean, I don't think they're going to be passing the ball much, It's not going to be an every week thing for Santonio Holmes. He's not going to remain consistent, in my opinion.
All right, so being the Jets fan here, I'm going to disagree with you. He's a must pickup, and I'll tell you why he's a must pickup. Geno Smith has done nothing but throw a lot, it seems. And I know the Jets are running the ball, but every time I look up at the stats or I'm not watching the game, he's already thrown for 250-plus yards every game, it seems. So that tells me that he's making... Now, while he doesn't make all the smart decisions, he knows where to find his targets down the field, especially he's getting big plays. And Santonio Holmes is somebody that, when healthy, can be a real good receiver, and I think it's going to help him as he progresses. Now, one of the things that I would say pick him up for sure over some of the guys that you might have already, Greg Jennings, let's face it, he's not doing anything. I mean, in Minnesota, it's Adrian Peterson. Ponder now is running the ball also, and it doesn't look like he's paying attention to any of his receivers. And that's somebody that was ranked pretty high on a lot of people's lists. I put Holmes ahead of him already. That's how I look at it.
I can see that point. But for tight ends, we have Zach Miller first from the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to say if you need a tight end badly, and especially if you have one on a bye week, he's got a tough matchup this week against Houston. So I'm going to say don't pick him up.
Again, we talked about it last week when we were, going over some of the tight ends in that spot. There's so many good tight ends already that you shouldn't have to have a pickup, a tight end to pick up. Certainly, if you missed out on an opportunity to get some of those good ones, like say Cook or Cameron and things of that nature, and you needed a backup for somebody that's struggling, like let's say Vernon Davis, then yeah, maybe you take a shot with him because it can't get any worse for you at this point, right? No, I'm just playing. But Vernon Davis is going to be back healthy, by the way, this week. But Zach Miller, yeah, I mean, you can pick him up if you need him. How about that?
Yeah. The second guy is the same for me. It's Garrett Graham. If you have tight ends hurt, or if you have somebody, like he said, Vernon Davis or somebody, and you need a tight end to put in right away because everybody snatched up all the good ones, Garrett Graham is a guy that can get you some points because that's all he does is score touchdowns, it seems like. It seems like every catch that he makes is a touchdown. And he's opposite of Owen Daniels. A lot of teams key on Owen Daniels, so because of that, they always go to Garrett Graham. So that's a guy that you might want to plug in. So I would say try to pick him up because he's going to get a lot of targets because of Owen Daniels.
Because of Owen Daniels and because the threat that Foster, because that's what they do. They put the power I formation. They put the two tight end set. And all of a sudden, you're wondering if they're going to run it or they're going to give it to Daniels. And by the time you look up, this guy's wide open. So, yeah, he's a good pickup especially for a touchdown league.
Yeah.
Don't expect much during, maybe the final line would probably be 2 receptions for 20 yards and no touchdown, something like that. But, that, like I said, earlier with some of the other tight ends, Gates has been doing nothing like that. So you might as well take a shot if you want to look for deeper tight ends.
Yeah, and for defenses, we have the Colts and the Titans. I'll start in on both, actually, real quick. The Colts is a good pickup this week. They're playing Jacksonville, period. If you need a defense, or if you're not even comfortable with the defense you have in this week, pick up the Colts, because I doubt in most leagues the Colts are available. So pick them up. They're playing Jacksonville. Start them. And for the Titans, they're playing the Jets. Jets do get some yards, but they're turnover prone. They don't score a lot of points. They have those low scoring games. So you might want to pick up the Titans just for the sheer fact that you might get a touchdown from the defense, or maybe the Jets aren't going to score a lot, so you're going to hold teams down. And like I said, you might have a bad matchup with your other defense.
Exactly, I agree with both points. Obviously, if you're anybody playing Jacksonville, you start. I don't care if it's Jacksonville playing each other in practice. You play that defense against them.
Yeah.
And for the Titans, yes, playing against the Jets, both those, we already talked about the Jets defense last week. Both those defenses, that's one of the things about this NFL season is so high scoring. But whenever you're playing a team like the Jets, it seems like the scores 13, 17, points only. So with that could be a difference in points for your fantasy league, because a lot of teams or a lot of leagues set up to where if they score more than 20 points, you get docked, or you don't get many points at all unless you're getting sacks, turnovers, etc. So with a team like the Jets that's not scoring a lot, you're getting at least some good points off of that. And then on top of that, Gene Smith is prone to throw interceptions.
Yep. Now this is the stud, duds, and Papa San part of the show. And who's your stud this week, Siggy?
My stud's going to be Jerry McFadden. I mean, we got Pryor that could possibly be out with a concussion. We don't know yet. Either way, I don't see him. He's going to get the talk. Let's just put it that way. All these running quarterbacks get the talk about diving and stuff like that. And that means he's probably going to be timid. That means he's not going to be the one running, which means more opportunities for Jerry McFadden to carve up. Who are they playing? Washington, right?
Yeah. So
there you go.
My stud of the week is going to be a surprise to everybody. This is going to shock the world, because every fantasy football league is going to tell you to sit this guy this week. And I don't believe that Richard Sherman is the best cover corner in the NFL. And I believe this week Andre Johnson's going to show why. He's physical, fast, and can still play. And I know Richard Sherman loves physical wide receivers because he can deal with it, but he can't deal with physical and fast. And I think Andre Johnson's going to have his way with Richard Sherman this week, because there's no way they can't just double team him, because Owen Daniels and Arian Foster. So they're going to have a rough time. He's going to have to really be single matched. And a lot of times Seattle masks their coverage. They play a lot of zone. So I'm gonna actually see what Andre Johnson does against the team, as long as Matt Schaub can get in the ball, because Andre Johnson will be open in this game. That's my prediction.
My dud of the week. We'll stay in that same game. Arian Foster. Seattle's run defense has been incredible. Their defense overall period has been incredible. And Arian Foster, he just hasn't been himself. So he hasn't been the normal 150-yard, 3-touchdown guy that we're used to in the past. And then again, Houston's defense hasn't been that good either. So it looks like they're all look like they're already worn down. So the whole team, the Texans, I think Foster's going to struggle. That's my dud of the week.
Yeah,
So,
my dud of the week is actually
Nice.
Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's a really good quarterback. He was actually my must start last week, my number one must start last week, and he did well. But I think against Houston's pass defense and with these guys at the line of scrimmage that bat down balls, he's going to have a hard time. He's such a short quarterback, and I know he uses his feet well and he tries to get provide lanes for him to pass. But I think he's going to struggle this week against Houston. Not that he's not going to have a good game. I think Seattle's actually going to win that game, but I think that his stats aren't going to be that great this week.
I can see it.
And for your
our
Papa San
sleeper of the week, Papa San,
Yeah.
Papa San of the week, is going to be for me, which we could have probably talked about on our waiver wire pickup if he's still available. Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
He is practicing. He is a full participant today. This according to Pittsburgh. And he's going to be the starter. He's going to be rushing the ball. He's going to be the main guy because, let's face it, that team has been struggling in the running game. And this guy's talent is all those running backs put together. And he's supposed to be the main guy. And we'll see this week. He's playing, I believe it's Minnesota. And I got a feeling that he's going to destroy Minnesota. Not destroy him like, a 200-yard game or anything like that. But he should get 100 yards. He should bring a touchdown. He should bring Pittsburgh back to being what we expect the Steelers to be, which is a decent team competing for the AFC North.
Yeah, my Papa San is Bernard Pierce. Ray Rice has been pretty banged up. He didn't even get to really play last week, and Bernard Pierce had a pretty good game, touchdown like 88 yards rushing. So look for him to go rush the ball like crazy against the Bills. Even if Ray Rice does start, Bernard Pierce still will get a lot of carries, and he's a workhorse. So, and the Bills are giving up a lot of yards rushing, and they still have not fixed that running or rush defense yet. So look for Bernard Pierce to get you at least a couple touchdowns and maybe close to 100 yards or maybe even 100 yards. So.
And there you go. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Fantasy Football Fiends.
Yeah, don't forget to leave the comments. Don't forget to leave all your questions in the comments. I've been nonstop checking it to make sure I can get to them before before your fantasy games and stuff like that as much as I can. I mean, I can't be around every minute, but I'm trying my best to make sure I read them all and respond to almost every one of them. So any questions you guys have, feel free to ask. Let us know who your studs, duds, and Papa Sans are this week as well, because maybe you could help me out. Get me out of my fantasy league. I'm 3-0. What are you, Siggy? 2-1?
2-1.
Yeah, I'm 3-0. Most fantasy points in the league so far. I'm doing pretty well. Siggy's gonna be. I'm gloating. I'm gloating right now. Yeah. See.
Only losses to you by a little bit.
That's how good we are. That's how good we are. We're so good that it takes one of us to beat each other. So we're trying to go for that fantasy football ring. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. But anyways, guys, don't forget to leave the comments and take care. Fantasy Football Fiends, JT Magnum and Siggy Guns. We out.